Very good morning to one and all. May I audible?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
you
sir.
are
You
audible.
got.
Yes. Yes. I request the last batch, that is 12th batch, to continue the session with the robot technology and application. The session is handed over to the last batch. You can take the session and you can handle the title related to the robot technology and application. Yes, go ahead, Yash Mohan. Vinod Khanna.
Yes, sir.
Vimaresh.
Someone else. People are still to join, sir. Some of our teammates. We'll start in 1 or 2 minutes. Sir.
Yes, little louder.
Sir, we will start in 1 or 2 minutes, sir. Like there are some people to join. That's all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, Vimalesh. Yes. Give enable editing and then give your file.
Good morning, sir, and my dear friends. We are Group Wealth. Like we are presenting upon robot technologies and application, and the topics we selected are as follows. First, we would be are talking about collaborative robots, then the commercial robots, then the self-heal robots, then cloud robots, customized robots, and finally AI enabled robots. So first, I'm Uddesh. I will be presenting on collaborative robots. So next slide. So first coming to definition of collaborative robots, a cobot or a collaborative robot is a robot intended for direct human-robot interaction with a shared space or where humans and robot are in close proximity. Cobot application contrast with the traditional industrial robot application in which robots are isolated from human contact. Cobot safety may rely on lightweight construction material, rounded edges and inherent limitations, and all the things about it. Next slide. History of robot. Cobots were invented in 1996 by J. Edward Colgate and Michael Pishkin, the professors at Northwest University. The 1997 US patent entitled cobots, they describe as an apparatus and method for direct physical interaction between a person and a general purpose manipulator controlled by computer. The invention resulted from a 1994 General Motors initiative led by Prasad Akela of the GM Robotics Center and 1995 a General Motors Foundation research grant intended to find a way to make robots or robot-like equipment safe enough to team with people. Now, there are four types of collaboration which are possible between robots and humans in the industrial grounds. The International Federation of Robotics defines four levels of collaboration between them. First, the coexistence. Human and robot work alongside with each other without a fence but with no shared workspace. Second, a sequential collaboration. Human and robot are active in shared workspace but their motions are sequential. They do not work on a part at the same time. A third, cooperation. Robot and human work on the same part at the same time but with both in motions at the same time. Responsive collaboration. The robot responds in real time the movement of the human workers. Next slide. Now, coming to the applications of collaborative robots, I have taken two field and the third one as the other applications. The first field is the medical field, in which we have four applications which are broadly there. So first, radiation surgery, angiography, hippotherapy, particle therapy, and then in entertainment field we have writing systems, 9D movies, motion pictures, and direction based on cobots. And other applications are biological cybernetic researches, rebel robots, and military cobots. Coming to its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of cobots are more adaptable. They can adapt anywhere. They are more productive. They give more productivity in the same amount of time. Cobots are safer. Cobots are intuitive. Cobots are more user friendly and intelligent, and most importantly, they are more affordable and cost friendly. Cobots have the ability to work around the clock. They can handle lifting heavy loads, toxic substances, and do repetitive tasks over the clock. Now coming to disadvantages, high standards of maintenance is required. Then second, precise programming are needed, like time training and specialty knowledge are extremely required. When computer fails, it causes a breakdown. Then fourth, the new product require reprogramming, which take a hell lot of time. Then fifth, people lose job because if the people are replaced by the robots in the new era. Now sixth, a supply of power issues. Thank you. I would hand over to Vimlesan to talk about self-healing robots.
Oh, Vimlesan, you're mute.
Vimal.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are on.
Yes, yes.
I think it's echoing. Okay. So there are several activities that we perform nowadays with robots, which have like plucking fruits and assisting in surgeries, but these operations can be done better with the help of delicate handling, and if the robot is made with more softer and more flexible material. So we use so they are making robots with jelly like plastics, and these are cheaper and easier to produce as well, because you can 3D print the substance. They are not only soft, but they are also dexterous, which makes them handling fragile objects more delicate and easy. And it also makes it safe for humans to work around or with. These robots are made with certain polymers that rearrange themselves back to its original form when it's slightly altered or damaged externally. And this rearrangement that happens makes it appear like it is repairing itself from the damage taken. So why should we use these robots? So first thing is they help you to reduce the need for time consuming complex and expensive repairs, because they heal themselves, and even if there was to be a damage, it is easy to make them through 3D printing. It also has implications for sustainability, as you don't need to replace many parts, and the maintenance is independent and autonomous. Self-repair mechanisms also mean that they are less prone to the human risk, that is humans damaging them, because uh, you don't have to worry about any accidents that may happen in the workplace. They are also extremely safe in workplaces with high robot workers and human workers. These by developing more of these soft, safe materials, they can sense and locate the damages and trigger the healing process without human interference. And this is traditionally found in factories and labs, and will soon be moving towards environments like agriculture and the average household. So Xenobots is a type of self-healing robot that is recently being made. They are made with the help of stem cells taken from a frog. These are less than a millimeter wide, and they can travel inside our bodies like our blood vessels, and they can also walk and swim. In the right top, you can see there's an example. It is this. These have their own uh, mass of cells that function on itself, and they also heal. Depending on where you place them, they begin to work on their own. Like you can see the picture, they don't look like a regular robot which have metallic parts. They are like a blob of moving flesh, they say, and these can achieve things that typical robots of steel and plastic cannot. Like if you place them with skin cells, they bond to form the structure, and when you place it with heart muscles, the robots are able to move on their own. These also have self-healing capabilities, in the way that when the scientists were to cut the robot, it kept healing itself and moving. With this, my topic is over. Vinod Khanna will continue the presentation. I'll mute myself.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I am Vinod Khanna. I will explain about customized robots. Next slide. Next slide. So, first we will see what is customized. To make or change something according to your customers or users' particular needs. Next, why customized robots? While robots are stronger and moving faster than ever before, they still struggle with the complex situation and their movement grind to a halt. Sabrina Newman said the hang-up is what's going on the robot said. She is a recent PhD graduate from the MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. More manufacturers are customizing their industrial robots to meet exact needs for their operation. Like 6-axis robots are preferred because they have a larger workspace and can be customized to handle a wide range of manufacturing applications. Next slide. So next, benefits of customized solution. Give the customer the ability to complete the system design faster by leveraging a customer automation expert to design and build a portion of the machine of them. Provide expertise on custom automation application that the end user may not have previously been familiar with aware of. Create a solution that will ultimately enhance the end user operational throughput and reduce operational cost, leading to an improved reputation within the industry and a stronger bottom line. Next slide. Here's some application of customized robot. Custom built exploration robot. National Geographic was able to get inside a pride of lions in the Serengeti to research and explore them for over a year. The robot with its camouflage paint job within a few days of being introduced to a pride was able to get footage for the National Geographic team not normally accessible to photographers before. Next slide. Next, radiological survey and inspection robots. Robots are most valuable when they can effectively replace human involvement. These are developed robots and robotic solutions to detect radiation, provide surveillance and security, and inspect rocket engines. Outside of safety corners, robots are able to survey terrain and other objects more quickly and more accurately than people. Next slide. Mining robots. These are vary from robots that assist in the excavation to robot devices with camera systems that detect gases and other materials. Most importantly, mining robots can be used to go places unsafe for humans. This is essential when scanning abandoned mines and other mining grounds. Next slide. These are last the public safety and homeland security. Standard tactical surveillance robots are routinely used by police, fire security, sand and water automated tool, smart, etc. We can customize these robots to suit our specific needs if we require a special manipulator. As much sensor size, weight, or any other feature, it can be specialized in customization. Thank you, sir. Over this last will continue.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Yashmohan. Yes, Yashmohan. Just a minute, Yashmohan. Vinod Khanna, what is mean by hazmat? What is the abbreviation of hazmat? Vinod Khanna, go back.
Hazardous materials, sir.
Hazardous material. Go back to the past slide. Yes. Hazardous material. Okay. Hazardous material sensor. Okay, fine. Okay, go ahead, Yashmohan.
Yes, sir. So my topic is commercial robots. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, as the name suggests, these are used in commercial applications wherever there is buying and selling of goods and services. So this, like, there are various applications of commercial robots. It could be used as a waiter in a Japanese cafe to being an autonomous guided vehicles too. So why are these commercial robots used? Experts are saying that previously robots were only used in assembly lines, but now slowly they are moving away from assembly lines to our daily lives. With the help of artificial intelligence, automated visions, robots can now work alongside humans in the same workspace. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes. So where are the commercial robots used? Commercial robots are used in delivery retail product to customers. As we would have heard about the Amazon delivery system, which are using drones now. Those are automated drones. They do not need any human interference. And it could also be used in mapping activities such as cave, uh, exploring a cave and stuff like that, and perform medical procedures. Like right now, it is not being used extensively, but in future, it is obvious that it will be used too much, and it will help in a lot of ways. It could also be used in packing in farms. If you guys have seen videos in TV or on internet, not in India but other places, it is heavily being used, and it actually increases the productivity by a lot. Like even the big countries as India cannot compete with small countries as Sweden and places like that because of the involvement of commercial robots in their packaging system. And it would help in access areas that would normally be difficult for humans. For example, we use soft robots which are just made of plastics to go in areas which have a different curve or which are very small where we cannot go. And it can obviously be used as told previously by my friend in inspection, recording videos, monitor construction of the places. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes. So what about the future? Commercial robots have great future according to me, and it's likely that within a decade we'll see them present in our homes also. At least for us, we are the creamy layer. That's why I'm saying that. And the other some applications that I could think of are marketing, and entertainment, telecommunications, home appliances, and medical procedures. I would like to talk about telecommunications. I recently heard about one of such devices that they have used it to detect heart attack and send the signal to the required department, and they will directly send the ambulance within minutes to the patient, and there would be no like serious issues because of that. And I recently saw one interesting video also. I have posted the link here. When I share the PPT, you guys can watch. I'll definitely recommend you to watch this. It is very interesting, and this page is also very good. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes. So what difficulties could we face due to the change in the industry? which is being caused by commercial robots. Now, as we know, like advantages are many. Like as my friends have spoken, advantages are almost same for all the robots. But the difficulties which we might face in change in the industry can be like we need constant power to uh, like run these robots, and these like steal the jobs of people who don't upgrade themselves and adapt themselves in future. And these are also expensive. But I personally feel that whoever upgrades themselves and adapt themselves to the changes, they would face minimal issues due to the change in the industry. Last but not the least, the overall advantages of using robots for commercial uses weighs over its disadvantages. So it is definitely recommended. My friend Yuras will take over from you. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Yuvraj.
Okay. Good morning, sir and friends. Today I'm going to be presenting a brief idea on cloud robotics. So now, before I get into the main topic, I will give a precursor on the topic of cloud computing itself, which is the basis. Next slide, please. Okay. So cloud computing by definition is the on-demand availability of computer system resources such as data storage, computing power, etc. Now this is taken care of without any direct active management by any user. What this allows us to do is to use hardware and software not of physical devices, but these are rendered as a service via platform. Where exactly the competition occurs is not necessary as long as the end result is obtained. The simplest example I can give for this would be Google. Suppose you type something into Google, whenever we search something, there is no one specific computer that is processing that query. A lot of systems combined together process this query and send you back the result. This is one of the simplest examples of cloud computing. Next slide, please. Now let's have a look at traditional robotics. Take the humanoid robot in this picture, for example. Every task that is related to this robot, for example, moving a foot, grasping an object, recognizing a face with its sensors, all of these require a significant amount of processing and pre-programmed information. As a result, sophisticated robots and systems like these need to carry powerful computers and large batteries to power them. Next slide, please. This is where cloud robotics comes in. You're combining the advantages of cloud computing and applying it into traditional robotics. Cloud computing and cloud storage provide a single platform that provides the services for these robots. When connected to the cloud, robots have access to the benefits of a data center, including data analytics, storage, and software as a service. This allows the robots to offload the query processing to the cloud. The connected cloud also ensures any other tasks can be added in real time. Monitoring and managing the robots is also now much easier as all the machines are connected to one central cloud at all times. Next slide, please. Now let's look at the benefits of cloud robotics. The first one being cost-effective and efficient robots. Cloud robotics allows us to build robots that no longer need to carry such heavy process demanding computers around to compute the tasks at hand. All the processing can be done over the cloud and the output can be just fed to the robot alone via an expanded network. This allows us to build more power efficient and cost effective robots. The second point is faster deployment. What I mean by that in cases of warehouse management, where we use AGVs, etc. But setting up these AGVs are quite cumbersome as they can require up to weeks of setup times and very specialized equipment. With cloud robotics, we can just deploy robots that are connected via the cloud. Now, this process has to be done only once, and this can be done within hours. What this allows us to do is get a AGV warehouse management system set up and running within a day, whereas usually it would require up to a week. The third point is scalability of the system. Now, scalability becomes a very advantageous position in cloud robotics as the systems are designed in a modular way, such that any number of robots can be added to the system. The cloud takes care of the processing at real time, allowing for up to 100 robots functioning at the same time via the same cloud. This could be scaled up to any number as per our requirement. The fourth point is supervised autonomy. Now, one very important aspect of cloud robot in specific is autonomy. Say we give a command to every robot connected to go to one specific coordinate. Now it is obvious that if that were to happen, all these robots would crash into one another. This is why each robot on its own has a small array of sensors and processor that can enable it to take certain decisions on its own to avoid such catastrophe. It can use its own sensor to get the work done safely while obeying all the commands. This level of sophisticated resource allocation is very unique to cloud robots, and this is referred to as supervised autonomy. Now, fifth point is cognitive collaboration. This refers to the real-time directions and instructions given by human operators that can help the robot perform tasks when conditions aren't optimal. The sixth point is shared database. This essentially means every robot present in the cloud has one common database. So there is no specific memory need that has to be shared among each other. All of the information is present in the cloud. Next slide, please. Now let's talk about some of the applications of cloud robotics. The first one being autonomous mobile robots. Now we have all seen images of Google self-driving cars, right? These are one of the best examples I can give for cloud robotics. Google has been implementing these technologies as part of their self-driving car projects. The cars use the enormous database of maps and satellites info that Google already has, along with the car having its own sensor to monitor its position, traffic conditions, weather conditions, etc. All of this is possible via the cloud where Google is storing its database. The second application I can think of is surgical robots. This kind of technology can be used in the medical field, wherein many hospitals have archives of medical records, diseases, and a patient management system. All of these can be outsourced into a cloud database. This can then be used to deploy robots that can connect to the cloud and provide clinical service to patients and also assist doctors. With the advent of surgical robots in hospitals, such systems connected to the cloud can be literally life-saving, as every minute matters in the medical field. The third point is Industry 4.0. With approaching Industry 4.0, it is inevitable that technologies like IoT may no longer be a feature, but a necessity in the near future. In manufacturing, such cloud-based robot systems can learn to handle tasks such as threading wires or cable or aligning gaskets from a professional knowledge base. A group of robots can also share this information for collaborative tasks. The next point is consumer-centric assistance. Even more, a consumer is able to place customized product orders to manufacturing robots directly with online ordering systems. Another potential paradigm is shopping delivery robot systems. Once an order is placed, a warehouse robot dispatches the item to an autonomous car or autonomous drone to deliver to its recipient. This example can be seen in the recent Amazon drone implication. With this, we come to the end of the presentation. Thank you for your kind attention.
Yes, what happened to Purnachandra?
Sir, did he not message you, sir? He said he has COVID, sir, so he couldn't prepare for today's speech.
He affected by COVID?
Yes, sir. We asked him, sir. He messaged us saying so.
Oh, fine. Fine. Okay, then it was good. And I request the left out people to continue the session, whether it might be 21 or roll number 21, 23, 30, 65, 66, 73. Anyone want to continue the session, or I'll close the session by putting minimum marks for them to for the assignment too. Anyone want to present? I think probably this is what the last class for industrial robotics. Since I'll refresh those contents which we were discussed during the past session, that we were started with the introduction. We were started and we were disseminated the classifications of robots, and then links and joints and mechanical configurations, mechanical grippers and drive system, hydraulics and pneumatic systems. And then we were discussed about the degrees of freedom, to whether it might be a 2 degrees of freedom or 3 degrees of freedom robot kinematics. Slowly we went to we revealed about the information for 4 degrees of freedom robot kinematics and its problems. We were discussed and we were revisited the problems, and we were disseminated the video related to DH convention, and then piezoelectricity, introduction over piezoelectricity, the introduction of sensors and transducers, and the Hall effect sensors, and then we were discussed the robot applications. And slowly we were moved to robot programming, And then in robot programming, we were discussed the sample program with the aid of the palletizing and task point diagram. And these other titles, the left out titles with syllabus were discussed by the students, and whether it might be a task point diagram or online offline programming or sample programs or program analysis, AI and expert system, robot cell layout and its classification, multi robots and machine interference, recent developments, advanced robotics, and model concepts in robots, special applications of robots, micro and bio robotics. At the last, the 12th batch continued the session with robot technology and application. This is what we were disseminated during the entire session. Very importantly, I need to refresh those contents. Some contents you need to well aware about the mechanical configuration and the grippers and DH conventions and robot kinematics and the program related to palletizing. And these are the very important topic you have to come across during your end semester. And anyone want to continue the session? The among the 6 people, 21, 23, 30. 30, 65, 66, 73. Okay, anyway, we'll put minimum marks for them. For Yamula Purnachandra also will award marks. Do you want to share anything? Any clarification, any doubts? Any doubts, any classic clarification?
All the groups presented something or the other, right? So will all this be counted as the end sem syllabus or whatever you thought was the end sem syllabus? Hello?
Yes, Sabarni, I didn't get your point, Sabarni.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So like end sem syllabus will be whatever you thought, right? And not the presentations?
Yes, it will be from your presentations too.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yes, it was in the syllabus. That is what we were concerned about the left out portion.
Okay, sir.
Probably in yesterday's conversation also I have messaged. Now only the people from MIS are collecting the data. Probably the exams will be during 15th May. Very soon you will get the circular. Once you got the circular or timetable, you make a message to message Sabarni or any representative. You make a message to me. Any other clarifications? Any queries? Okay. It is very nice to meet you all in view of industrial robotics. And thank you, Ondal. If feasible, we'll meet during next subject. Thank you, Ondal. We'll meet.
Thank you for your hard work.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.